A Filipino educator from Tarlac is making global waves in education, now recognized by King Charles III for his contributions to school leadership in the United Kingdom. But even as he receives one of Britain's highest honors, he is also helping to improve the quality of education back home here in the Philippines. Here's my exclusive conversation with kababayan Edison David, MBE in London.
It was overwhelming. It was overwhelming. I mean, it's one of the ultimate accolades, not especially for a Filipino, but even for, the British citizens. It's an ultimate accolade to be named as an MBE. So I was really overwhelmed with emotions.
Well, you started in the Philippines, in Tarlac, in the government school there. So you do have that view of the local educational system, along with what you've learned here in the UK.
Indeed, yes.
Yes. What would you say are the key differences?
I think the key differences are, there is first and foremost, it's funding. So, for example, this is a 640 pupil primary school, and my budget is around £4 million a year. So that translates to about 1,008,332 million pounds, 32 million pesos a year, or more. I think I don't know my mathematics, but it's quite a lot. But in terms of the pupils, they're the same. Children are universal, so they are, they're learners. I think one of the things that I find here as well is there's so much clarity around curriculum. So schools are not second guessing what they're going to teach. Teachers are not second guessing what they're going to teach on a daily basis. The curriculum is well spelt out for them, so it's quite detailed.
Talk to us about that clarity and what you've learned. I know that you've done up some changes in the schools that you've led here in central London. What can we apply in the Philippines, in the immediate time?
Yeah, I know. I've been reading the EduCom, we've been discussing that as well. So it's quite a heartbreaking report. But, if you put it in perspective, when they say 91% of the pupils in the Philippines are struggling, just imagine for a second, if you have 10 children who get up every morning, they go to school, they stay there from 7 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and then after 4 years, of those 10 children, only 9 of them are reading. So that's really heartbreaking. But that is one thing that England was also facing not very long time ago. So in the mid-2000s, there were relative weakness in the teaching of reading here as well. But what the government did here was that it has taken that as an absolute emergency. So what they did is they commissioned the report, and we have spelt out in the curriculum the manner by which we're going to teach reading. So we looked at, evidence that is found on research. So we considered a simple view of reading by Goff and Tunmer. And what we've done is that we have spelt it out for the schools. This is the way you're going to teach reading. So it's going to be first by phonics and then language understanding all at the same time. So what that has done is that from 37%, and the first year that phonics screening check was introduced, 58% of the pupils were fluent readers, and immediately after that it rose into the 70s. Last year, 80% of all England pupils at the age of 6 are fluent readers.
And that's something that can be replicated in the Philippines,
easily.
English is not the first language.
Easily transferable.
I know that you've spoken with Secretary Angara.
I have,
in your last visit.
Yeah.
Did you mention this to him, and what is the way forward then with the DepEd now receiving the biggest chunk of the budget in 2026? What is your immediate proposal?
Definitely. I've spoken to the good secretary. He came across as really genuine and really authentic, and he was really interested in the systems and the processes that the Philippines can learn from England. I have already put together a proposal to the department. It's a solid proposal, and it's going to be a bespoke phonics program that can be implemented across all the schools in the Philippines in terms of the teaching of phonics. It's as a way of teaching reading. It's now in the discussion stages, and I hope that they take that with the sense of urgency that I feel for the country, because I know it's transferable. You can just imagine seeing the Filipino pupils all reading fluently, at least at the age of 8, and that will be a huge contrast from the, from the position that the country found itself in as per the EDUCOM findings.
And why would reading be the first attack and way forward? How does that improve our proficiencies? I mean, you've seen the EDCOM 2 report. There's been the UNICEF report that is really showing that we do have a problem, an education crisis to resolve.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think this is one thing that everyone can agree. Reading is the key to all learning because you unlock knowledge through reading. So I think there's no pretending that we can even start learning the other subjects of the curriculum if we are not reading. Because knowledge is predicated on existing knowledge and you can only get knowledge from reading. So it's very important that reading, and the EDUCOM report actually places a high importance on reading, but not reading per se, but actually early reading. Those idea of strong foundations, the foundational knowledge, because you cannot move into education unless those foundational knowledge are in place. So equally important is early mathematics as well. So it's not a binary choice. So you can have early reading and early mathematics that are, that you can address all at the same time. But what is impossible though is to move through the different curriculum subjects without ensuring that reading is there.
You talked about budgets and how important it is here in the UK and how it is used for a purpose. How then can the budget in the Philippines work to the favor of a curriculum that you are proposing to design? Yeah,
well, I think the budget that the Department of Education is more than enough to actually have a national rollout of the proposal that I am proposing to them. The thing with the education problem in the Philippines, when you look at the EDUCOM report, it is such a deep learning crisis. No, it's quite systemic. So you cannot just blame the teachers for the problem. So it is actually, the teachers can only be as good as the curriculum. It can only be as good as the delivery of that curriculum, and it can only be as good as the resources within the curriculum. And I have looked at the proposal in detail, and I think the Philippines can more than afford to have such a body. But what you need is a political will for it to happen.
And also support from the local community. I know that you've had a very difficult time pushing proposals before your MBE.
Yes.
Now they seem to be listening?
They are listening.
What are you getting?
I think they are listening. They are, even the undersecretaries that I spoke to just last Monday say it's an attractive proposal. That's how they, describe the proposal that I've given them, and I think they're willing to support the program. I think that what they're trying to navigate though through the existing programs that they already have, and that's understandable because you don't want to have so many programs. But I just want to emphasize that reading should be at the heart of those programs, and it has to be with a sense of urgency.
And it's not that you're just the head here in the school. You do some inspection work that really gives you a lot of that credence that goes into your proposals. You have inspected a couple of schools here.
I have inspected close to 200 schools.
Wow. And what have you learned in that process then, on how we can come up to the standards of what you think is a good school?
Yes. Well, you have to look at the quality of education, and one of the things that is integral to the quality of education are those strong foundations, the foundational knowledge, the investments of leaders to make sure that the youngest pupils are getting the best education that they deserve. Alongside that is ensuring that the disadvantaged pupils, the most vulnerable of our pupils, are also supported. And I'm pretty sure that in the Philippines, when you look at the discrepancy between what pupils are getting from private schools and what they're getting in public schools might be different. And that is probably not because of teachers, and that is because of some disparities in terms of resources and quality of provisions as well. So I think that's one of the key things as well. And during the inspection, we also saw the development of early reading and early mathematics in the school. It hasn't always been like this, but because we have that accountability regime, the schools are getting better and better at those early reading. Some schools, like my school, 95% of my pupils here in this specific school are reading at the age of 6. And in a lot of schools, 80% is not good enough. So we have schools that get it to 100%, get it to 90%. So the dedication and the commitment is there. But dedication and commitment alone is not sufficient. You have to have the right curriculum. You have to have the right training for teachers. You have to have the right resources. for it as well, and the right monitoring to make sure that it's happening day in, day out.
The opportunity to make a change in the Philippines has now surfaced with your proposals now being listened to. We are reminded that a lot of teachers have left the country because they wanted to find better paying school jobs. How have you reconciled your support as an OFW to your family back home with the fact that the nation needs you back in the Philippines?
Yes, and that's why I'm here. You know, what I have done in this country is I have skilled myself up. You know, I have made maximum advantage of the professional development that this country has actually afforded me. If I were in the Philippines, I might not be able in a position to actually, you know, provide this kind of support to the education of the pupils in the country. That's why I'm trying to give back. And I think, you know, leaving the country alone is not, I think it's not a disadvantage in itself. Because I was able to demonstrate that by leaving the Philippines, I was able to skill myself up so that now I'm not only be able to, for example, if I stay there, I'll probably be helping my public barangay school or my elementary school, but now I'm in a position to help the wider community of learners in the Philippines. And that can only be a good thing, right?
Do you ever think of going back for good?
Maybe for holidays. Yeah, my children are here. So I have 3 children and they're here and they're rooted here. But I love the Philippines. There's no two ways about it.
All the best in the investiture. It's happening in a couple of months, right?
Yes. I'm just waiting for the dates. My understanding is that I'm going to be given 2 choices of venues. So it's going to be at the throne room at the Buckingham Palace or at the Grand Hall at Windsor Castle.
And what have you chosen?
I'll definitely going to our Buckingham Palace. Just like, it's just next door.
My conversation with Edison David, MBE in London.